But now that we've talked about Marvel for a bit, let's talk about Star Wars again.
Yes.
So there was a story that came out recently about the Cassian Andor show. And this is from Variety, and it says that Rogue One writer Tony Gilroy joins Cassian Andor Star Wars series at Disney Plus. And the big thing to take away from this is that Gilroy is set to write the pilot for the series, in addition to directing multiple episodes. He will work alongside Stephen Schiff, who remains on board as showrunner. No official premiere date has been set, but Disney had previously indicated the show would debut in 2021. So, for the people out there who might not be familiar with some of the background on Star Wars Rogue One, basically the writer and director of that movie, which I believe was somebody help me out with
Gareth Edwards.
Gareth Edwards, yes. So Gareth Edwards, basically, the rumor is that his initial cut of Rogue One was unwatchable. It was a mess. And so Tony Gilroy was brought in to kind of fix it up, and he kind of redid the entire third act of that movie, which ended up being the best part of that film. And he's basically the guy who saved Rogue One from being a complete and utter disaster. And there's been rumors on Reddit and stuff like that have said that the Cassian Andor pilot, it was kind of going through the same thing, that the script was a mess, that nobody could really figure out what to do with these characters. And so they went back to the guy who saved Rogue One to kind of come in and save the TV show, and that this guy who is currently show running, Stephen Schiff, is kind of being upended by Gilroy, much the same way Edwards was upended by Gilroy in the making of the movie. So there's a lot of interesting behind the scenes drama at Lucasfilm, which unfortunately isn't all that uncommon during the Kennedy era. So Ruin, why don't we start with you? What do you think of this news? Do you think it's a good thing that Gilroy is getting involved? Do you think that the rumors of the strife behind the scenes are accurate? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so, okay, as much as we give Disney a hard time for the Star Wars content, I have always been a fan of Rogue One. I think it's the best that they've produced. And yeah, what you said is totally right. I mean, it had a sloppy first act, but the third act in particular was absolutely fantastic. They are clearly looking for content here, but I think they're looking in the wrong place. The character of Cassian was fine within Rogue One, but I don't know if he warrants his own show, his standalone show. Maybe there's more to flesh out there, but I find his character kind of boring, to be honest, in Rogue One. I thought, I'd have been more interested in the and I'm not great with the character names, but Chirrut Imwe and what's the other guy? Like a movie out of those two guys. That would have been awesome. I would have loved to have some backstory on those two. And
there's a possibility they could show up in this Disney Plus series.
Yeah, and I'm down for that. And but yeah, I don't know if I don't know. I just think they're looking for content for Disney Plus, and they're probably looking, in fairness, that Rogue One, in terms of how it's been received across the fan base, is pretty positive. So maybe that's part of the thinking. But I'll give it a go. We're now a matter of weeks away from the launch and the Mandalorian, which everyone generally feels pretty positive about. So let's give it a go. We've got, God knows, we need something to be a bit positive about. So yeah, but I'm yet to be convinced he was the right character to run with.
Stephen, what do you think about this news? Do you think it's good that Tony Gilroy is getting involved?
Probably, but then I think it's a sign that there was already some problems with it. I think he did a good job with what he did with Rogue One. And, it's like Ruin said, for me, that's the best thing Disney has done is Rogue One. It's not perfect. It's not great. But, yeah, like the last half was, it was really good. But I don't know why. I don't know whose decision it was to make a Cassian Andor show. Because I figured that. I mean, he is. I mean, of all the I think one of the big problems with Rogue One was the character development, and to me, he was actually like the worst character. He was boring, and just there was nothing there, and I don't see how you can make a whole series around that. Yeah, I said, like a show about base, and sure, it would have been better. Seems like it would have been more interesting.
Well, look on the bright side. At least we're not getting a Rose Tico show.
I'd be excited about that. That'd be great. Give us all sorts of content to work with. Also, there's only one way to go, but there's only one way to go if the character sucked.
Drunk 3PO, what do you make of this news? Is this another sign of Disney's or Lucasfilm's mismanagement, or is this hopeful?
I think I would rather have a Rose Tico show where we could see her rise through the ranks of mechanicness and learn her tools correctly and how she became so smart in working the cargo bay.
Or see her relationship with her sister.
Trust me, you don't want to see her use tools.
Now, I like her sister as an actress. I think she's fantastic. She's in a couple other films. She's in one about Cambodia that is absolutely incredible. So even though she was in The Last Jedi for 5 minutes, she was fantastic. Anyway, I don't know. I think they just put a bunch of names in a fishbowl and pull it out and say, this is what we're going to do for Star Wars, because they're literally giving us shows that nobody wants to see and nobody cares about. I don't understand. Like, did they just throw a dart on a dartboard and say, let's just go for broke and see how this works?
I mean, there are people who care about the Obi-Wan show. They've been wanting to see
the Obi-Wan show. Okay, so we got one out of what? How many? It's just, I honestly don't care. I don't want to see an Obi-Wan show because I've seen how they ruined my other characters. Now they're gonna ruin Obi-Wan. Give me somebody brand new. This is where I'm at with Star Wars. Give me somebody brand spanking new that I've never heard of and give me a show. I think that's one reason why The Mandalorian might be a little more positive, because it's like we get a feel for the character because we kind of know the Mandalorian who they are, and it goes from there. But it's a new character that we don't really know, but we kind of know, and it's just like it's just aggravating for me as a Star Wars fan. Honestly, it's just aggravating. So,
Mr. Proper, are you as aggravated as Drunk 3PO?
I'm aggravated.
Do you think this is a hopeful sign?
Look. I didn't like Rogue One. I actually really hated the movie. I thought it was pretty, I don't know, not for me. I was not excited about it. I was like, all right, I already know how this is gonna end. Spoiler alert, yeah, they get the plans. This isn't exciting for me. Decent story. I liked what they were trying to do, but yeah, Cassian Andor was Prince Caspian, whoever, is boring. I just didn't. I thought all the characters were pretty boring. The only things that I liked, or like the references to like the older films, having Jimmy Smits and James Earl Jones come back was great. Loved those parts. If I go rewatch it, I'm only gonna skip to those Darth Vader scenes because I thought they were awesome. But so I don't care. It's Drunk, you're right. It's a show that no one asked for and no one wanted. And also the problem with this is that he's going to live through it because he has to get to Rogue One. So I have
exactly. Thank you, Proper. Thank you. Exactly. You already know the end game. Give me somebody I don't know, so I don't know what's going to happen at the end.
Right. I was going to say we've already seen the most important part of his life.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
So what's so important up until that point? Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it could be great, but I don't know. I don't care. But you could also make that same argument for Obi-Wan, but people like Obi-Wan, so that's I don't care. If they really need the guy to come back and fix stuff again, it could be better than what we might have gotten without him. But to me, at the end of the day, just the stakes are not there. The stakes are not there.
Mr. Connors, do you think it's a good sign that Tony Gilroy has been drafted to come in and help fix the show?
Well, as far as Gareth Edwards goes, real quick, he's the last guy. Actually, I guess I'd have to direct a porno. evidently. If anybody's seen Godzilla.
What? Where did this come from?
Because he never shows you the money shot. He cuts away all the goddamn time. And then anyway, and then he gets booted off of Rogue One, which was a dunk shot. Let's face it, because most of us enjoyed it here except for PJ, but that's about it. I mean, that being said, it's the most enjoyable of the Disney Star Wars films to this point. I agree with everybody on that point. Otherwise, I agree more with Proper in the sense that I just don't give a shit. I really don't care about Cassian Andor.
Yeah.
I think what was more telling in this, wasn't this the article where he said something, he like alluded to that the show was about to be canceled if he wouldn't have come on board or something like that, or it still might be canceled?
No, I don't think that was.
Okay. All right. I had heard that somewhere too, and I thought he had said it, so that might be from a different article. But evidently, yeah, they brought Tony back on board to fix this thing. What are we going to get? Hopefully, I guess more of what we got in the last half of Rogue One. Do I really care? No. I mean, I was never a big Boba Fett fan, so I'm more excited about the fact that, you know, Favreau's involved with Star Wars than I am about the Mandalorian series as a whole. As far as Obi-Wan goes, okay, why didn't we get this first? This should have been one of the first movies out the door.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, it made more sense for them to kick back, spend the time to write 3 scripts, get ready to shoot 3 movies back to back to back for Star Wars, you know, trilogy sequels, and do something like Obi-Wan out the door or Rogue One out the door, just to kind of get everybody back into the spirit. But they knew they had to start with something. I still say it was just too much too soon. But the problem is that I'll agree with Iger on. The other part I'll disagree on is that Star Wars is oversaturated, because as Marvel's taught us anything, is that as long as shit's good, people will go to 6-7 movies a year if you put them out there.
Even if shit's mediocre.
Yeah, even if shit's mediocre, like the Fox movies and stuff. And, you know, but no, still, as far as this goes, this is the last thing I really could think any Star Wars fans could give a shit about.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that's promising is they'll think they might get a glimpse of Member Berries, because we know that the Empire's huge right now. We might get a shot of Vader.
Yeah. We might get Vader in this one, yeah.
That's about all you got hope for.
Right, and that's the sad part about it. The guy that you're supposed to be excited about is probably the least exciting part of it. It's like everything else that could be cool, you know.
Exactly.
Yep.
Well, I am pretty hopeful that Tony Gilroy's involvement will mean that this series will be better than we're all expecting it to be. Like, they are saying it's going to be a hardcore spy thriller. There's probably going to be a lot of tension in it. So I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what.
That's not Matthew. That's not Star Wars.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like that's another franchise. That ain't Star Wars. When you watch a Star Wars film, you want Force, you want Jedis, you want the conflict. When they gave us Rogue One, the best part of the movie was the Sith Lord.
This isn't a film, though. This is a TV series set in the universe, and I think that.
But it's like
it gives you a lot of room to play with different concepts and see if they work or not.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah,
we'll see what happens.
Matthew, Drunk has given me a really good idea. Can I try something very quickly? We are gonna create our own Disney Plus show. I've got the cast list from Rogue One. Matthew, I'm scrolling up and down it. Say stop whenever you want. Say stop.
Stop.
Oh, ready? Are you ready, man babies? It's Bodhi Rook. Bodhi Rook is our new Disney Plus TV series. We're going to have a whole 15-parter on Bodhi Rook. There we go.
Just be him having sex with tentacles the entire time.
It does feel like that's what they've done with Cassian Andor and some of this other shit they're giving us. And oh god, I don't know. Play that one at home, man, babies. Have hours of fun.
They're literally giving us the bottom of the barrel. Outside of Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan is the only thing that has any pedigree attached to it. I mean, really, look at Mandalorian. Look at this. Outside of Jon Favreau, you know, developing Mandalorian or whatever, you know, however you want to put it. What is it? What is it there to offer us? All the fans have ever wanted since Star Wars was on the screen to begin with, it was the same shit back in the day George Lucas used to pull. Instead of giving us, you know, a TV series, he gives us the Ewoks movies. Instead of giving us an actual Star Wars cartoon Saturday mornings, what does he give us? Droids and Ewoks. Droids was okay, and then he pulls that away from us.
The interesting things about this purported slate of Star Wars TV series is you have Obi-Wan, which is the prequel era, kind of leading into the original trilogy. Then you have Cassian Andor, which is during the original trilogy. And then you have Mandalorian, which is after the original trilogy. So they're kind of giving us TV shows set in all the different eras somewhat.
Yeah, they're cheap. Cheap alternatives to cool shit. That's the point. Is that it's like going to a carnival. It's like, yeah, you see the same toy you can get at Walmart for 3 cents, but you're going to spend $500 to get it because you want to get it at the carnival. The carnival is Star Wars, okay? So they think that we'll pay whatever fucking money that they want to charge for Disney Plus and give us the crappiest shows in the world. And that's exactly what Ruin was saying, is pick a freaking character. That's what's next, as long as it isn't somebody who's going to cost us some money.
Breaking news, man, babies. We have a new Disney Plus show announced. It's Galen Erso.
Exactly.
We're going to have a 15-part TV show.
No. He costs too much money. What's his face? Cost too much money.
Mads Mikkelsen costs too much money.
Yeah, Mads Mikkelsen. If we can do a young version, yes.
Well, we'll recast him as a woman or something. I don't know.
Yeah, young woman. That'll work. There you go.
We'll have a whole show dedicated to Commander Cody.
That's what I'm saying. That would be even smarter than some of the crap we got. At least he's well known. Yeah, like Steven's just saying there. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say, yeah, that'd be better than Cassian Andor. I'd see Cody.
Did I actually just get to do something that was better than theirs randomly? What?
Yes, you did. You fucking did, because at least people care about that character.
You could have Cody. You could have a whole show with him and his regret over Order 66, how he turned on Obi-Wan. I mean, right there, that's more interesting than...
You mean like have him see a therapist for 5 episodes?
So you can turn him into like a rogue...
That would be amazing.
You call it Rogue Trooper.
Yeah.
You call it Rogue Trooper, and he's just out there, taking down the Empire silently behind the scenes because of over his guilt. Yeah.
Yeah, after Order 66, he had a change of heart, and you realize what he did, and, I mean, look, right there, you can take it from there, and you can come up with all kinds of stories that would all be better than a Cassian Andor.
I agree.
Well, I'm telling you, I would watch the Rose Tico series just because.
Even Rose Tico's a better character in a way. at least there's some.
It would be like watching Batwoman just because. So,
well, let's.
I have just one more thing, if I may, to add to this. If they keep having Tony Gilroy to come back and fix all of their problems that they have, same thing that happened to Rogue One. They keep going back to him. It's like, hey, we need you to fix this. Why don't they just hire him in the first place?
Because this just goes to show how cluster effed everything. And I know I've been swearing this whole time, and now I censor myself. Everything is behind the scenes there, and goes to show that what we've been saying, a lot of us have been saying all along, is Kathleen Kennedy is a prestigious producer. That's it. She's done a bunch of prestige movies with people to where she's never had to do anything. And I've said it a million times. You know how hard it is to probably call up and say, hey, I'm Kathleen Kennedy. Steven Spielberg needs all of downtown New York, and get it done in 5 seconds? That's easy to do because you got Steven Spielberg behind you. But now she's in control of this, and she is no Kevin Feige, we keep bringing up, because he took control of this universe. He knew from the start, and that's why Ant-Man was directed by what's-his-face, Peyton Reed, instead of
Edgar Wright.
Edgar Wright, because Edgar Wright and Kevin Feige couldn't see eye to eye on how to fit it into the Marvel universe. And it was, whether you want to agree with it or not, it was for the better of the Marvel universe. And he knew to make that decision instead of, hey, we could have had an Edgar Wright Ant-Man movie. Well, it wouldn't have fit in with everything we were doing, though. He didn't make that sacrifice. Kathleen Kennedy's making those sacrifices. She's letting Rian Johnson come in there and toss the whole trilogy out the door and say, no, I want to do this instead. And driving, Trevorrow out the door in the process. This is called chaos, folks. This is how shit happens. And then when you got Lord and Miller filming for 80 days before they finally bring in Ron Howard. How the hell do you get 80 days in before you think, well, this ain't working? I've had relationships last less time than that. It's like, come on, guys. I mean, really, I love Robert Meyer Burnett, but the more he sticks up for KK, I'm like, come on, man. Come on, seriously. Yes, she could produce a Zemeckis film. Yes, she could produce a Spielberg film, but she should not have been handed the keys to Lucasfilm. And if
she was
so,
not a creative producer on it.
exactly. If not, she should have brought in somebody like Filoni or somebody like that to be her Kevin Feige to run the show. That's what she needed. And I think that's what Kiri Hart was supposed to be. And I think that's where her failure came in. And I know that's something you and I don't see eye to eye necessarily on, Matt, but I do feel like that was a big part of her departure.
Hey, thanks for checking out this video. I hope you got a lot out of it. And remember, if you want to support the channel, please check us out on the socials. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Matthew Kadish. You can also find our discussion group over on Facebook at eggfbgroup.com. That's eggfbgroup.com. Takes you right to our Facebook discussion group. And if you'd like to help support the channel, check out my books over on Amazon.com. You can find them by going to kadishbooks.com. That's KADISH books.com. And as always, subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon so you're notified every time we upload a new video for more movie, TV, and entertainment news and analysis. This is Matthew Kadish. I'll catch you guys later.